Welcome back to the Chain Sprocket for another CARfari Chinwag. This update is an exciting one, from a brand that hasn't been shy about making change for the future. Geely-owned Lotus has definitely been on a journey of late, with announcements that they will be moving to electric soon enough. But their new car, the Emira, follows a rather more prehistoric and perhaps rudimentary approach, encompassing some of the old CHAPMAN magic. Now, we've all seen a Lotus at some point in our driving career, but let's be honest, they are not the motorway fleet car of choice. So when you see one, they tend to grab attention as they're generally always looked at like a mini supercar. Well, almost anyway. Rarity does mean strong residual values and a strong customer desire, but the challenge has always been about making cars that can be driven more often. And driving an Exige every day can be done, and believe me, I have some friends that do that. But in the main, the cars pre-Emira are generally fair weather, as they don't possess some of those essential driver aids and creature comforts to ensure the cars stay on the black stuff in the event of some dicey conditions, or if the driver runs out of talent. But here we have a formula that is 100% set to target some of the greats in the sports car arena, namely the Porsche Cayman and the ALPINE A110. So where to start? It has to be first impressions. I don't use the following word very often in association with cars, but beautiful. It's an absolute masterpiece. As far as I'm concerned, there isn't a bad angle on this car, and if it could look this good on screen, I cannot wait to see it at Goodwood. Senior designer and project lead Daniel Durrant describes the design inspiration having come from fighter jets and nature, citing pouncing cheetahs, sharks and military fighter jets as design cues in the Emira's form. He describes the car in 5 words: sculptural, athletic, agile, elegant and alive. And I totally get it. There are notes of other supercars captured in this car's form too, but we must remind ourselves that whilst it won't look out of place next to a McLaren, Lamborghini or Ferrari, this car has a price tag that is best part of half the amount of the aforementioned brands. Lotus stating that the Emira will start at less than £60,000 with additional options and packs available, but as standard, the car will feature tech never seen before on a Lotus. Now, all of this extra kit comes at a price, and I'm not talking pound sterling, I mean weight. Bending Chapman's mantra somewhat, he always claims simplify and add lightness. Well, this is a pure breach of code, but it will be all the better for it. Yes, every motoring journalist will focus on the Emira gaining some unwanted poundage, but what can we expect? If we desire a usable, everyday sports supercar, well, we'll just have to suck it in and hustle a few more pounds. I, for one, wouldn't be complaining when the car will have features like radar sensing cruise control, anti-collision warnings, infotainment and even Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. As in the grand scheme of things, the car is still less than 1500 kilos, with plenty of horsepower to keep the Lotus Thrill firmly at the top of the priority list. The car is on sale, with deliveries taking place in 2022, with first cars being known as first editions, featuring the familiar Toyota-derived 3.5 litre V6, with the added supercharger. For the first time in over a decade, Lotus are also introducing a new engine into their lineup, making use of their fellow Geely stablemate, Mercedes-Benz, with a small stake of Daimler now being controlled by Geely Holdings. The AMG-developed 2-litre turbo will offer more refinement and efficiency, plus the benefit of a dual-clutch transmission, whereas if an auto is required in the V6, you'll need to make do with a good old-fashioned automatic with torque converter. Power outputs are healthy and optimised for a spirited drive, as Lotus describe it, putting out between 360 and 400 horsepower, which results in 0 to 62 in a little over 4 seconds, depending on the variant. Now, what I find really interesting is the option of a driver's pack. This is a sign that Lotus are really trying to compete with the likes of the Porsche and the Alpine. And as standard, the car will be set up in a touring state, which offers a healthy blend of dynamics and comfort. However, for those looking for an even more involved, engaging drive, the customer can opt for a driver's pack, which will tauten up the suspension, add launch control, and when a small fee is paid, the customer can also select improved rubber, namely Pilot Sport Cup 2s over the standard Eagle F1 Supersports. So let's move to the interior. Now, this is where it's plain to see there's been huge evolution in the design language and forward-thinking marketing scale. It's the interior where Lotus has really moved light years ahead. With driver-focused instruments, modern premium materials and practical storage, this really is something unseen in Lotus cars previously. There's a large 10.25-inch widescreen controlling the infotainment system, whilst the 12.3-inch digital driver's display dominates the driver's view. which in my opinion is very Tesla Model S. The display looks modern, sharp and sports themed with accessible steering controls for menus and hands-free calling. The fighter jet switch cover is another nod to the car's inspiration, and if the customer chooses a manual, which is only available on the V6, then they'll forego the console storage but gain the sculpture that is the gear linkages, as previously seen in an Exige or an Evora. For the other elements, it's going to be difficult to comment on the interior comfort and size. However, something I'm sure will be extra special is the availability of the CAYMAN UniQ sound system, which, knowing how good CAYMAN are, I'm sure it will allow for a fully immersive soundscape in the cabin. Overall, the Emira is incredible and sure to be the huge hit that Lotus are planning for. I love the huge deep set character lines down the doors leading to the air intakes, the less is more approach to aero and the perfect wheel stance to body proportion. It's an absolute winner for me, and I now just need to find some extra money to potentially own one in the future. Well, that's it for today's Chinwag. As always, thanks for joining me, and be sure to let me know what you think of the Emira in the comments. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching. Like it if you enjoyed the video, share it if you loved it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more.